Hi, my name is Mel, and the following presentation will explore the transformative role of quantum computing in the field of cybersecurity. We'll cover quantum computing basics, cybersecurity fundamentals, the impact of quantum computing on encryption, and emerging defense strategies. So we'll begin with an introduction to quantum computing principles and key algorithms. Then we will review foundational cybersecurity concepts and current encryption methods. Then we'll discuss how quantum computing threatens classical cryptography. Finally, we'll cover advances in quantum-resistant cryptography and best practices for securing digital systems. And this is important because the field of cybersecurity is rapidly changing with new threats. So this is an important thing to sort of get the basics of. Understanding the basis of quantum computing is essential to grasp its impact on cybersecurity. This following section introduces quantum mechanics principles, contrasts qubits with classical bits, and highlights critical quantum algorithms. Quantum computing leverages phenomena like superposition and entanglement, enabling computational capabilities beyond classical systems. These principles allow qubits to represent multiple states. So in ordinary day life with an ordinary computer, a bit is just a single bit, one digit of information. It's normally a 1 or a 0, all right? So with quantum mechanics, superposition and entanglement, it can be either 1 or 0 or multiple, okay, multiple states, okay? It can be in multiple different states. It's not just one state. It's not either a 1 or a 0. It's both a 1 and a 0, okay, if that makes any sense at all. Quantum mechanics is really weird. The principles allow qubits to represent multiple states, as we said, okay, offering exponential processing potential, okay. Okay, hopefully this makes sense to you. Unlike classical bits that hold a value of a 0 or a 1, qubits can exist in a superposition of states, which means sort of neither. I'm trying to explain this simply. This difference underpins quantum computing's unique power and challenges, especially regarding error correction and coherence. Okay, so it can be 1 and a 0 simultaneously, if that's what superposition means. Okay, it can be 1 and a 0 simultaneously. All right, algorithms such as Shor's for factoring and Grover's for search demonstrate quantum computers' potential to solve certain problems much faster than classical algorithms, posing significant implications for cybersecurity. The following section reviews essential cybersecurity concepts, traditional cryptographic methods, and common threads facing digital systems today, providing context for understanding the quantum impacts. Digital security revolves around CIA, or confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. Techniques like authentication, which says who you are, okay? Or authentication is reflecting like your identity, okay? Authorization is what are you allowed to do, and auditing which is keeping a record and a log. So that's the AAA or AAA, which is also important, are fundamental to protecting assets from unauthorized access. Current encryption relies heavily on algorithms such as RSA and AES, which use mathematical problems assumed to be hard for classical computers. These methods form the backbone of secure communications today. And they really do. AES is improved now to hold, I think it's 5112. It used to be 128. I think it used to be then 256. I think it's 5112. RSA, I'm not so familiar with, but I think that's improved as well. But look, with every improvement comes people who keep trying to hack and get in or do things, okay? So that's why cybersecurity is constantly having to improve. Cyber threats can include things like malware, phishing, denial of service attacks, and data breaches. Awareness and mitigation of these threats are critical for maintaining system security. And yes, there's multiple different types of attack, and I'll just cover the very bare basics there. But it is really, really important that that people are aware that these everyday people can face things like this. Ransomware is a big one too. And I think it's really, really important that you understand, like, like if you're an individual user, having like strong antivirus and anti-malware in a computer, never pay the ransom, always back up your system, things like that. For companies, obviously have like back your systems up to both local storage and on the cloud, have some form of redundancy in there, but also to have the strongest network architecture you can with firewalls, VPNs, all that sort of stuff. And also, system monitoring tools like Nessus and, Snort and Splunk and things like that. And look, everyday people, you need to be aware that everything is vulnerable. So you can get free VPN, which I would really recommend for people to use, because then that's a bit more security, especially if you're going to do like online banking and stuff like that. But yeah. Quantum computing threatens traditional encryption by potentially rendering many algorithms obsolete. The following section examines vulnerabilities, quantum attack methods, and the timeline for practical threats. Many classical encryption schemes rely on mathematical problems that quantum algorithms can solve very efficiently and effectively, putting sensitive data at a risk once large-scale quantum computers become operational, which is very close. I mean, they already are operational, and there's more and more this stuff's been used, unfortunately, to do not the right thing. Shor's algorithm can factor large integers exponentially faster than classical methods, threatening RSA and ECC encryption. This capacity poses a significant challenge for current cryptographic security, which is why I think AES is being improved now because of a lot of this stuff. AES, I think, is being improved. I'm pretty sure to 5112, I could be wrong, but this is what, like RSA and ECC are going to probably fall off just simply because they are changing, but I think they're always going to make quantum computing is going to make them always vulnerable, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, we'll go on. While practical quantum attacks are not immediate, advances suggest they may become viable in the next decade. Forget that. They already are viable. Look, they don't happen very much. I've got to say, quantum attacks are not something that is the most immediate threat right this second. I mean, advances that they will become more viable and more like what's going to happen like in the next 10 years. I mean, look, they already are, they're not like super immediate. Look, because this is something like not many people would do or can do. So quantum attacks may not be the most important thing you need to worry about, but it is something that you're going to have to look down the track at 5 to 10 years. Challenges remain in building scalable quantum machines, but preparedness is essential, yes. Look, preparedness, even if scalable quantum machines don't become a thing, even if quantum computing doesn't really pan out the way they think, always having preparedness, always having like for increased ability of people to hack new techniques, new ways of doing things, is something that everybody should be aware of, okay? So even if quantum computing turns out to be a bit of a, not something that we need to worry about, I think having preparedness for what is out there is essential, okay? To counter quantum threats, researchers are developing post-quantum cryptography and quantum key distribution methods. This section discovers these innovations and best practices to future-proof cybersecurity. And look, I think even if the quantum threat doesn't become real, having post-quantum cryptography is a good thing, because that will improve cryptography down the track for more secure systems, okay? So I think this is something that's really good to have in mind. Post-quantum cryptography involves new algorithms designed to resist quantum attacks, focusing on lattice-based, hash-based, and code-based cryptographic schemes to secure data against future threats. And yeah, look, that's primarily, it's to try and stop whether or not quantum attacks are a thing. Having lattice-based and hash-based and code-based cryptographic schemes will help against future threats of any kind. Okay, so that's what's really like, I think the push to help solve this is a good thing. Quantum key distribution involves using quantum mechanic principles to enable secure key exchange, ensuring that any eavesdropping attempts are detectable. And this technology so far offers a promising approach to secure communications in the quantum era. Organisations should adopt hybrid cryptographic approaches, stay informed on quantum developments, and begin transition to quantum-resistant systems to maintain robust security. Well, look, that's probably something like quantum-resistant right now. It's not the most important thing, but definitely have hybrid cryptographic approaches and stay informed on what's going on in the field of cybersecurity, you know, by all means. I think that is really, really good. And having a robust security is always a good idea, okay? So look, in conclusion, quantum computing can present both challenges and opportunities for cybersecurity. By understanding those foundational concepts and actively developing quantum-resistant strategies, we can safeguard digital security in the coming quantum age. And look, that's whether or not we have a quantum age or not. We can, by developing these sorts of strategies, it might not be the most important thing you do, but it is there, a strategy you should have to improve your digital security at all times, okay? You should always be working on continuous improvement, and that's something you should be constantly evaluating your security plans, your risk plans, your incident response plans, constantly evaluating your level of security. Do you need new updates, new software, that sort of stuff? Do you need new equipment? So that's something like whether or not this quantum era becomes a thing or not is something you should be doing at all times. Thank you for your time.